Hey guys, how's it going? It's BobbyKBikes here, and welcome to another BobbyKBikes video. Now today, I'm going to show you this member of my collection that I've not shown you before. This is a 1981 Raleigh Record, and it's quite possibly the nicest classic bike I've ever bought. I bought it in Aberdeen in October 2015, and bought it from a man who'd bought it for his wife. He'd put 2 new tyres on it. I think he'd done some servicing, new tyres and tubes, I must add. And his wife didn't quite like it. It wasn't really for her. I think he put about 7 miles on it testing it out, but he had to get rid of it, so he sold it to me. And it's a lovely bike. I think he told me that this was perhaps one of the best bikes that your sort of average Joe could afford back in 1981. It's not a Colnago or anything, but it's a very nice Raleigh, and I'll just show you it in a bit more detail. It's black with these lovely gold decals. You'll notice if I'll show you this one, it looks gold in my light. It may look somewhat silvery on camera. It really depends on your lighting conditions. I think, yes, the down tube one looks a bit more gold. They're all that colour, but they kind of change with the angle of the lighting. But I was told when I bought it that this sort of metallic, it's actually a lot like the sort of golden foil on the top of a champagne bottle, is what it reminds me of. But the man who sold me this bike told me that that's pretty hard, if not impossible, to reproduce when making reproduction decals. So when buying one of these, it's important to find one that's got good original decals. And these ones, they're peeling ever so slightly at the back, but I'm sure someone with the know-how could maybe stick them down or do something to prevent them peeling further. Other than that, the decals are in very nice condition. She's still on her original cloth bar tapes. They're a little bit tatty in some places, but I think it's quite a cool feature for a bike this old to still be on its original tapes. It has these Vineman brake levers, which I've just noticed say Diacompe there, and a part number or serial number or something. And it has these lovely Raleigh Vineman 610 centre pull calipers with a nice mounting here on the front, and at the back it's by this little piece on the frame here. So pretty nice brakes, and of course the classic Raleigh snowflake reflector, same as on the Grifter and the Mark I burners, and it's got these little aluminium shorty mudguards. This is another cool little feature, the sticker which says Tour de France winners TI Raleigh 1980. I looked this up on Wikipedia, and sure enough, in the year 1980 the TI Raleigh team won the Tour de France, so some of Raleigh's road bikes must have had this little celebration sticker. Further down the down tube, there's also this Aberdeen Bike Shop decal. I think it says Aberdeen Cycle Centre, 188 King Street, and the telephone number, which I can't quite make out. So it's quite possible that before I moved, this bike might not have left Aberdeen. It has this lovely leather seat. I'm not sure if it's a Brooks, I couldn't see a name on it, but in the time that I've had the bike, I've rubbed this with hand cream every now and again just to keep the leather nice. It has this very nice aluminium group set. I'm not quite sure what the chainring is because I've not had it off. There may well be a stamp on the back. It certainly says Raleigh in the cranks, but I'm not quite sure if Raleigh would have made it or if it's another brand part with a Raleigh sticker on it. It has this lovely Suntour VX rear derailleur, very nice, and it has these lovely shifters up here. Now, this bike has very nice shifts, always been very smooth and clean, very instant and sharp. Another thing to note is that these dust caps for the crankset are both present. Sometimes with an old bike one of them may be missing, but this bike, in its another thing it has in its favour is that it has both of them. It also has this really nice Blumels pump, which sits here along the seat tube, and it works. It's a good pump. Also has these lovely aluminium rimmed wheels, And the brakes are very sharp. Of all the vintage road bikes I've owned, this has had the sharpest, nicest brakes. Again, very instant and on time, not really much delay. It has this Sanyo mechanical speedometer with a green zone of speed, yellow zone, and then the dangerous red zone. Speed is in miles per hour and kilometers per hour, and it has this little odometer here in miles. Now, I couldn't figure out how to get this working for the first while that I owned the bike, about the first 100 miles, so whatever it is, it's certainly 100 miles less than it should be. I've put about 120 miles on this bike on Strava, and it's resistance on the sidewall that allows the speed and distance to be recorded down there. It isn't perfect, it has a few wee marks here and there down the forks, and the mud guards and aluminium parts such as brakes could really do with a good polish. It also has a nice bracket for mounting a lamp like they had back in those days. I had a big square Halford's own brand lamp on it for a while from my own sort of collection of lamps, and on the day of the University Road Cycling Club photo I took this bike because we all had to be in our club kit and have our bikes with us, and everyone else is on their fancy bikes and there's just me with my old steel bike with my big chunky lamp. I'd bought this bike to tide myself over until I had a roadworthy road bike, because at the time that I bought it the Falcon wasn't finished and all my other, well, the Team Banana wasn't roadworthy, so all my road bikes were really in bits or not working, and I'd been given a rather important role of training captain in the University Road Cycling Club that year, so this was the road bike I bought to tide myself over. I think it only ever went on one club ride. I'd used my Marin South Leto hybrid for some of them, but then that unfortunately got stolen. But I used this for a training session of sprints along the Aberdeen seafront, and I didn't do quite so well against other people, but on Strava this bike and I have done some pretty cool things together. This stretch that we're on right here, there's a 1.3 mile straight from there where I'm pointing to there where I'm pointing right now, and last time I checked I was 9th overall of all time out of about 300 and something, and that was a ride I did last May on this bike, so it can still hold its own pretty well against new bikes. Unfortunately, I've decided that I'm going to sell this bike pretty soon, because realistically speaking it's just too small for me. I think the frame's about an inch or a few centimetres too small for me. I had a longer seat post on it for a while to give me a bit of extra height, but it's just too small, and it's now surplus to requirements now that I've finished the Falcon. So I'll be selling it very shortly, which I'll miss it, but needs must. When I do sell it, I'd like to find someone to buy it who'll look after it, because it's in good condition. It's not a perfect one, but it's a good survivor model that's been well looked after, and I'm hoping to find a buyer that'll continue to look after it and keep it in this sort of condition. Definitely someone who'll not make it into a fixie, because that would just be a shame, that would ruin it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed me showing you around this bike, and I'll see you in the next video. Tatty bye.